What's up? It has been a while. Yep. I've been busy looking for a job, doing other things, moderating Club 86. Cheers to you guys. Happy Memorial Day. Yeah, I've been away for a while, but that doesn't mean I haven't been working on the car. I've been working on the black one mainly, and you guys know about that one. That's the beam swap that I've been working on. Finally, with the help of my older brother, he was able to come down. Well, my younger brother helped me drop the motor in, and then my older brother helped me put the transmission on it. And today I'm going to go through everything that I needed to do in order to get that done. And hopefully it's informative. Hopefully you guys get some information out of this that can help you with your own beams build. I'm going to have some suggestions and opinions about parts and processes that go along with the build. And I'll show you exactly where I'm at today. And I'm excited that a lot of the stuff that I've been dreading and afraid of is actually done. So thanks for watching again, and let's get to it. Okay, so here it is, the beams inside of the Corolla. So I'll just go through everything that I remember now, and if you guys have any questions, just hit it up in the comments and I'll try to answer your questions. Right now the harness isn't in, and so it's just sitting in there. I'm doing all the plumbing and all the extra stuff, the other stuff. This is the coil radiator beams to AE86 swap radiator, so the outlet comes out here. And so this is just like a little S section of a hose that I had, and it fits okay. It bent from here to here, and so there's not really a stretch, but it does stretch just a little bit. But it fits nicely, and that's all I'm gonna do. They have a second hose that is for a different car that you can order at Napa, and I have that part number for that. GTS overflow, OEM brackets. This is the beams here, and then what I did here was I moved the inlet from here, the top, to the back. And so you take this back screw, you just take it out and you put it here, and you put this one over there, and then this one I might use as a return to a return line that I'll just route through here. And I'll have like a few pressure regulator here set, maybe like for maybe here, using one of these like OEM mounts. That's for another day. I'll plumb up to these factory lines because I'm going to use a factory hose, and I'll use the factory return line as well. This vacuum line here, it has like a secondary line here that I think hooks up to this, or hooks up to something. I haven't figured that one out yet, but see this piece here? But this top piece is gonna pull vacuum, and I'm gonna buy an extra hose, a hose this diameter, just to run straight here, right into here. This heater core I removed for space because it was taking up a bunch of property right here, and I decided that I'm not going to run heater in this. I might get an electric heater unit, or maybe figure out if I can reroute it nicer. For now, I just looped it. I know it's not ideal, but for me, just to get it running is fine. Then if you look here, I'm gonna put you all the way down here. This is the excessive manufacturing kit. It works amazing. This line is the braided line goes. They give you these adapter pieces here. These adapter pieces. Those are the adapter piece, and this is the hose piece. So this screws onto this slave, and then the hose comes up, and I run it behind the on top of the bell housing, and it goes under the brake booster, and it comes back around, and I'll show you right now. I think it's worth the money. And it has another adapter, and the hose connects to it. I put it under the wire. I removed the hard line because I think since I already bought it, I'm gonna use it. But the hard line would have been a little bit. You would have just had to buy like a line to put this fitting on, and then you know, run it to your booster. I mean your clutch master cylinder. But that's that. I made this bracket here. It's just I mimicked the original one, but I'm using the OEM harness, the non-cruise control throttle cable, and it should give me enough travel to have wide open throttle. And this will be for the oil catch can. I'm gonna take that off and route it somewhere else. I'm gonna have a 90-degree elbow for the intake with a MAF sensor here. The harness is gonna run to it with a filter here. Okay, now on to the excessive manufacturing mount kit. Here it is here. The bracket from the engine bay to the engine mount. Now, this is the only thing that I had issues with. The mount that they provide, it was way too wide. There was no way that you can actually use it because it made the engine sit up higher. And with the engine mount bracket in a V formation, if you put it lower, the engine will rise higher. If you put it higher, the engine will stay right in the middle. And this is the one piece. Oops, sorry. This is the one piece of the OEM mount that I didn't use. Obviously, it was designed to be used with the mount, but who cares? I'm at the point where like I'm not even trying. I just want my car running and installed. But if you use, for me, I would suggest buying this piece, the engine bracket piece, and don't buy the OEM mount. Now the excessive mount. This piece is amazing. Highly recommend you buying this engine bracket, buying the clutch line, but do not buy this bracket, this engine mount, because you won't be able to sit the engine correctly all the way down to the bottom to give you clearance. So there's really no point in buying it. You're just putting the engine back to where the factory location is, and you're not going to be able to have the clearance that you need. I'm running 1.5-inch spacers here. You see that? 1.5-inch spacers on both sides, obviously. And then going to check my bump steer as soon as I get the car going. And if I'm gonna run RCAs as well, roll center adjusters for the struts. But you know, people say that bump steer is horrible, but some people, they're like, hey man, you drop your car, you slam that thing like 3.5 inches and you're worried about bump steer. I'm kind of from that school of thought, like the car is gonna be out of whack regardless, so you're gonna be messing with that regardless. But yeah, have that. So buy the bracket, don't buy the mount. That's like $180 that you're just throwing away. Definitely buy this clutch line if you don't have it, or like if you want to just upgrade. I think that's a good thing. This is the kind of clearance that you get. It actually clears perfectly because I have the manual rack, and the manual rack fits very nicely under the transmission tunnel. Nothing was needing to be cut. This is the excessive transmission mount. Perfect. Highly recommend that. Excessive manufacturing dry shaft from beams to SR5 rear, because my rear end is actually an SR5. But once I get that, it's only an inch longer. Once I get a GTS rear or Ford with 8-inch, I'll get a new drive shaft. This drive shaft was like, I don't remember, a lot of money. But I'll show you how. And the drive shaft fit perfectly. It was a really good piece. So this doesn't actually fit. No matter how much you try, it's not going to fit. It needs to be, you see the holes right there? They don't line up. Even if you had the ability to put like a screw in there or a bolt in there, you wouldn't be able to bolt it down over here, because you would have to cut this out, which I'm going to do. I'm going to cut this out a little bit on both sides, and then I'll be able to push it backwards and mount that up nicely. So it didn't center itself, and the reason why I had issues was this piece right here, this back hose pipe right here. It was pressing against the actual heater hose, and it was pinching, and then it kind of like it tweaked the engine this way. So the transmission didn't even line up. So I took the hose off, took all the different hoses and back off, and it went back straight like this. And now it has everything lined up correctly in the right order. And so that's one thing. So a little quick tip: this bumper here is really the only thing that you need to hit. We smashed this top piece, but it wasn't enough. If I had to do it over again, which I might, I'll pull the engine and then I'll smash this piece right here. And when you're doing it, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. It's just like a little bulge that they created, and I was just smash that whole little bulge in. And other than that, everything fit. The hood cleared because I had the 1.5 inch spacer. It wouldn't clear when I had the excessive mounts on there, which again I don't recommend you buy. Just run like OEM mounts, and it will sit perfectly all the way down. You'll not manual rack. You won't have to cut the bell housing, and you don't have to cut any of the bracing. You don't have to beat the tunnel. You'll just have to beat that little firewall piece, and that's the only thing. So that is like the only thing that you actually need to do. The alternator, I haven't figured it out yet. I'm gonna wire my own. I'm gonna run the OEM ECU, or intake and everything. I know for sure I'm gonna throw this onto it and have that charged to the battery. But these wires, I have to trace them and then rewire them to wherever it goes, ECU, or I don't know where it goes. I am not a pro. This is me like figuring it out all myself. The wiper motor, you just need the harness inside the chassis, and this harness from another Toyota, and then you wire the 4 wires to this plug in here. This plug right here, and that's going to be your wiper plug. But it has like a lot of different plugs. I mean, oh wait, I think it's this one. Yeah, it's this one. I have it upstairs because I'm still doing my wire harness. But that's it. I mean, the hardest part is that you might, if you have the access to engine lift and ability to like lift it real high and have like a balancer, you might be able to snake it in. But for me, I found that my brother and I found that it's easier if you install the engine and drop the subframe. That's what we had to do. It had to drop maybe like 4 or 5 inches, so we dropped that. We left everything hanging on there. We dropped that whole thing, and then we were able to with a jack under it, we were able to install the transmission that way, because it was just so long that the engine oil pan was sitting on here. It was impossible to do, so I just stopped. I was like, it wasn't really worth it trying to like destroy my front. But yeah, I mean, as far as the excessive pieces for the swap, I recommend the mount, the bracket to the engine. You're gonna be taking off like all your peripherals. I'm not running AC or power steering because I have no use for AC, and then I have a manual rack. And then I'm gonna be running. I ran the transmission mount and bracket, so buy those. And then the drive shaft is good, and then the clutch line kit. Highly recommend that. And then what else? Alright, and then as far as the exhaust goes, I'm going to be creating my own. It'll come out this way. It'll come out this way and then go back down that way into this little crevice here, trying to avoid the steering shaft, the steering column. Everything on this side has a lot of room. I was looking for an alternative for this because I took this off and I was measuring it, but nothing at the junk actually fit. No Lexuses had the same thing that was forward facing. The GS 400, the older one, had the one that came straight out like this, but the inner diameter was too small and it wouldn't house the thermostat correctly. This is it touching, but I don't think that it was touching earlier. I actually know why it's touching now. Usually it's not touching, but maybe it is touching. I don't know. Like I said, I didn't have to cut my hood bracing. So as far as the ECU goes, I was trying to make my own harness, but dang, that would have taken me a little longer. So I decided that I'm gonna house it here. I'm gonna run the hose, the Napa part, going from here to the ECU. I mean here to the lower radiator, and then I'm going to get a regular battery and then house the ECU up here. I'm gonna make my own little use these to make a little, what do you call it, housing for the ECU. Hopefully the harness extends far enough. I don't think that I'll have an issue. A couple of the guys had issues because they were running high-rise headers, but I'm running the basic headers. It should have enough distance to have dissipation of heat that it doesn't affect the ECU. These, I don't know. I haven't completed my harness yet, and like I said, I am not a pro, so I'm like hesitating doing my harness. But I don't think I'll be running a couple of the OEM areas. I'm gonna power directly to it, but that's a whole nother thing, guys. Let's see. And I think that's it. I mean, for now, everything is in. I need to trim that, put that in, buy this hose, buy this vacuum hose for pressure, and then do my fuel lines. And it's nice because some of these beams, they come with these factory beams hoses, and you can just add like connection pieces to it, and that's kind of like what I did. Just put this little connector piece into it, and then I'll be able to maybe connect it down there or something. I haven't figured that part out yet. I'm going to be running a return system with an external fuel pressure regulator. I'm going to get another one of these hoses from like an AE92 or something. I think I might have one at my parents' place, so I'm going to grab that, and then I'll cut the ends off, and I'll just like pipe my own way into it. And then this is one of the bigger things, the throttle. I believe it pulls all the way. So for now, I think that's it. Let me know if you guys have any questions. And I'm also running the excessive manual rack bushing adapter because I'm running an AW11 rack. You guys saw that already. This is the stance I have. Don't know why this side is so low. I'm sure they cut that really low. Hopefully be able to get some coilovers. And that's it. Thanks for watching, guys. Sorry I was rambling, but it's been a while and I've been working on this thing. Pretty excited about getting everything done. Give a shout out to my brothers helping me out. But hopefully the next time will be a video of it running.